That doesn't really matter about that bit, does it? Do the clap. Hey yo, what the motherfucking f is motherfucking up, motherfucker?
Hello.
Welcome back to the master and the motherfucking noob. I probably can't say that bit, can I beep that out?
No, absolutely not.
Sweet. So, welcome back to the master and the motherfucking noob. I'm the master, called Thanks Anderton.
And I'm the noob, called Sophie Jackson.
So this week, we've got a good episode for you. I'm going to say that every time now, because that's what Owen Benjamin does.
Well, all of them are good.
We've got a good episode for you this week, guys. This week, we're going to be... Oh, it's 100 special. This is the 100th special.
No, we've got 111 subscribers now.
Right. Oh, so we've missed the 100th
Bethel.
Special.
Nobody's in 111 even better than...
Yeah, the 111's 101th. The 101th special. What are we going to do for it, though? Have you got any ideas?
Well, were you thinking of doing a giveaway?
I was thinking of doing a giveaway, right? But it's kind of lame, innit? Because first of all, no one f***ing cares.
Yeah.
It's like, I've looked... I wanted to be like... We've got some subscribers already. I wanted to choose it amongst them, but I wanted to use an app so I didn't have to write them all down. And it's like, you can't do that with an app. But I can get an app where you do a comment and you can find your comments, but like... It's pointless picking between 3 comments. It's basically JJ's going to win it.
Do you think we should do like that is like a 500 milestone instead of something?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probs.
Okay.
We could give away something though.
T-shirt?
Like one of them T-shirts that I haven't sent them to Gemma yet though. I feel like I can't give anyone a T-shirt until... Like T-shirts are locked until I fulfill her order still. I need to put money in my bank still, that's why. I mean fiat currency in my bank still.
So what's the topic at hand today?
Topic at hand today. Well, I was going to tell you some things that have happened. You know how we said on the last episode?
Yeah.
And people guessed what it was?
Did anyone guess it right?
Nope. Some people guessed incorrect. Some people guessed... And obviously, I'm not allowed to say that, so why would I say that? Come on, bro. Some people... Did some people guess... No. So, one person said... there was another guess that was also offensive, and I'm like, nah, it's not that, man. It's not offensive.
I don't think people would get it, honestly.
I don't think they will. They don't know that we love that subject so much, do they?
And they never will.
My dad said he would have put money on it being... And I'm like, well,
we've already discussed that, though. It's over. Like, that's over now.
Yeah, it's over that. We've done that.
It's boring now.
We did 2 songs about it, man. Like, why would we talk about that anymore?
Oh.
Right, okay, so... You know what we said about the dick helmet? And you were like, no one's going to think it's dick helmet.
Yeah.
And I said, JJ will.
Yeah.
So JJ's commented on it saying, first thing I thought, dick helmet, you know me too well. And I was like, knew it.
Every time I've been talking about this to me mum or my dad or my boyfriend, they're like, dick helmet. And every time, I don't even think of the first thing. Everyone else is.
Because you're too pure, Sophie. Someone else, J Drum 1991, he said 100%. I mean, he might probably wrote 100% because that's how I would have said it.
100% for what?
Dick helmet.
Oh, right.
What else have we got? Mark Thompson isn't a vegan, apparently, and he says he's not skinny anymore. Oh, where do we send pics for a solicited critique?
Email
them to us, innit? Where to, though? Oh, okay, yeah. Email it to this email there. That's going to be so fucking irritating to do. Yes, where do we... Yes, so send your solicited critiques to there. Otherwise, just put them on your own Instagram and we'll just unsolicit them. I just wanted to show people that.
You really like that one, don't you?
Yeah, here's a photo of Bees Jeffos and Beth Jesus, who run Amazon. I made it because one side of his face is like...
Did you make that?
Yeah, I made that, yeah, because both sides of his face is like different. He looks like evil. He looks evil.
Yeah.
Normally. But both sides of his face separately look like nice guys.
Yeah. I also mirrored my face and made it a high elf.
And that looks like this. Right, okay, so Jack Cordwell said, just finished watching it, had me in stitches. Diz Roulette said, my Eve has now become exciting, can't wait to watch till I'm home to watch. Oh, that was before it. Someone guessed cunts, but no, it's not cunts, man. We never
We
bleep
don't even
cunts out.
censor that.
Then someone said, Jay Denton said, definitely said cunt a fair amount, which is fair. It is fair. On cunts. So, is that all my comments? Sarah Splash said,
Biggest fan.
I know exactly what you said. I'm a ninja too sometimes. I was like, I didn't say ninja on any other words that start with that letter. And then she said, I just meant I'm a ninja at knowing what you said. And I'm like, oh, really? Then we had a conversation about it in Messenger. She also thought it was so she would have also lost her money because we would never say bro. Yeah, so that's that. That's the comments. So I saw a post on the internet the other day, and it was this. Look at that.
What am I looking at?
That someone's had a tattoo and then went home and passed out on the radiator.
What?
I don't think they're raised like. I think they're just like burnt. They're not like. I thought that looked folded back, but it's not.
So like they, what does having a tattoo like?
Some guy called Chris Diligent Maher said, "Going to throw this out there, not to I don't know who it is. Something like Charlotte Webb shared it.
Okay.
Going to throw this out there, not to ridicule my customer, but to make you aware. ... So Saturday, my customer does a full day sitting with me, around 6 hours. He then, no, I'm not going to punctuate like that. He then goes home and an hour later has a bit of a funny turn in the bathroom and passed out against the radiator. Poor back is going to hurt more than the tattoo ever will. That looks painful. My point in this, doing full days does and will take it out of you. It will blast through your glycogen and insulin levels like no tomorrow. I'm not sure that's how insulin works, but that's fine. No tomorrow. So you have to eat according. Your body will convert sugar to make endorphins and adrenaline. Without food and energy, your body will go into shock much quicker and you'll get cold, shaky and lightheaded. High carb foods, bananas, fruit, chocolate and sugary drinks will help you out through the day. I have a saying, your diet, anything goes on tattoo day. Well, that kind of contradicts what you just said about you need to eat something specific. Yeah. So not anything goes. Not eating something doesn't go, does it? Obviously. Also avoid radiators for 3 out of 4 hours.
This is like... This is something you're very qualified to comment on, isn't it?
I don't know if I'm qualified. Like I'm opinionated on. I'm opinionated on this enough to comment on.
You're very into tattooing and into diet.
Oh so. yeah, bro. So I don't actually know the mechanisms of that like blood sugar drop though.
That sounded like it was made up.
That it did sound a little bit like he's like just thought about it. Well, I noticed this years ago, right? Like so, when I first learned a tattoo, I was like, I just bought a kit and had to go, which they reckon you shouldn't do, but worked for me anyway. So, but then I got to a studio, and one of the rules the guy said is that you should only use 3 liners and 7 round shaders for everything. And one day I remember I'd been watching some forums and stuff. I was reading a forum called, what was it? I think it was Joshua Carlton's forum. I can't remember what it was called now. I was reading on there, and then Paul Booth had a forum. I've mentioned that before. I can't remember what that was called either now. But I was reading on these forums and people were talking about different needle sizes. They were talking about Magnums and stuff. So I went by the studio the next day and I'm like, Lee, have we got any Magnums in the shop? And he's like, yeah, there's some there, but we never use them. I'm like, well, I want to use them. Like, I want to try them. He's like, no, you can't use them. They just rip the skin up.
Right.
They just rip the skin up, do they? I'm like, is it not how you use them that does that? He's like, no, that's what they do. They're bad like that. You can't use them. I'm like, well... all the people I've looked at who are good seem to use these, so it's like, he said, well, that's what I was told kind of thing. And then I started realising over time that people just share information without doing any test or any thought. Mm-hmm. They just share it because they heard it, and it's like, I'm not willing to just share something without testing it first.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I want to try it because I don't believe it. Like, I think I just have this in me to like, I've got a good bullshit detector, so I'm just like, you're just saying that though, aren't you? So I'm like, let's test it. So we tested it. And I watched him do it first. I'm like, can you do it first? Because I know you know what you're doing or something. Because I didn't, like going to a piano shop and being like, I want a piano. Like, okay, have a go at this one. And say, oh, I can't play it. Will you play it so I can listen to it? Like, that's what I did in my first pianos. It's kind of like that. So I'm like, well, you use it on this next tattoo. So he did it on a tattoo. The piercer in the shop, he had like 2 swallows on his stomach.
Right.
And he did them both on the same day, like all colourful. Like they were like probably off a flash sheet, like really bright, kind of like primary colours ones. And he did one with the 7-round shader and one with the Magnum. And it's like, I think he used a 9 mag for it. And it's like, he liked to do the round shader stuff. He could get it really solid and quite quick as well with a 7-round shader, like quicker than I could get it solid. But he liked to do the colour. He'd say he'd do blue to like a line and he'd have a crisp like point. Then he'd go green to like a crisp point. Then he'd go yellow to a crisp point kind of thing. So it's like a step of the 3 colours. With the Magnum, he'd get this like soft edge between them. And he's like, when they were finished, he's like, see, I don't like that one, the Magnum one. And Jason, the guy who was on, he's like, yeah, I prefer this other one as well. But I was like, yeah, but imagine what you could do with that. Like if you like, if you practiced at it, like you don't like it maybe because it's the first time you've had to go of it, but it didn't rip the skin up. So then I wanted to go, and then I did it on him actually. I tattooed his hand, and I used a Magnum on that, and he didn't want me to because they just ripped the skin up. And it turns out, no, they don't, bro.
Why
they can though. They can rip the skin up.
Oh, right.
It's the thing. Like it's a lot. I don't know if I honestly don't even know if it's easier to rip the skin with a Magnum now that I think about it. Because with a round shader, you've got like, say, all the needles are like. Do you know how they're made? Have I told you that before?
Well, they get like.
They basically put them in a little pile, like it's like a circle. You'll have like rigs, basically, or jigs, sorry, made. So you'll have like a hole that'll be 7 needles thick, right? You drop the needles in there, and that puts them all in line perfectly, like parallel with each other. And you solder the top. Then you take it back out, and then you've got your round shader basically, right? And you'll have, say, 5 mil at the end, maybe a bit longer. That's not soldered. Then if you wanted them tighter, or you want to turn them into liners, if it's a different like needle, you would then push them into like a tapered jig, which would like bend the ends in. So they're already like soldered so far down straight, then you bend the ends in and solder it further, which locks them in at that angle kind of thing. But because the round shaders are all really close like this, like all the needles are touching in it most of the time. There's so many different ways to do it, but they're mostly just touching like this. It's like you're trying to shove this one big needle in at the same time. Where the Magnums, like there's 2 types of Magnums. There's stacked Magnums, which are like that, and then there's what I would call weaved Magnums, where they're all like, it's basically flat, and then they weave like a blade between them to pick them up like that. So there's actually like a gap between them for skin to go. So it seems to me like it should be harder for a Magnum to rip the skin up than
Well, it's more surface area it's touching, I guess.
It's practice though, obviously, whichever one you practice the most with.
Yeah.
So he's telling you that, like, but for some reason, I have seen people rip the skin up more with Magnums. I don't know why. I can't figure out why that would.
Think they just like overwork the area, or?
Is it potentially? Brent was telling me about this because our needles are soft. You know, we talked about on another episode. The Japanese needles are like 0.5s or something.
All right.
And ours are 0.25s or 0.3s. They go in and like. They move in the skin, so maybe even that. It might be that because they go in, they don't just go in and back out. They go in and like spread, like wherever the easiest path is, kind of thing. So they might be going like this as they go in. I'm not sure about that, but that's kind of the understanding of it potential. Maybe it's that, and it's that you go in and you think you go next to each other, but it's like going up here and then it's severing bits of skin or something. I don't know, but you can definitely rip the skin up with round shaders. Anyway, but the point was that he's telling you to use only a 3-liner and a 7-round shader for everything, because that's what he was told. And he's unwilling to test the other things. Where since I've tested the other things, and I never use a 7-round shader or a 3-liner for everything. It's like Magnums, you can do everything with Magnums, basically. They're not ideal for lines, but you can use them for that if you're like careful. And that's the same with the food thing, I think. People just assume that, oh, your blood sugar goes down, so you need to take blood sugar in. And it's like, I don't think that's how it works, actually. Well, yeah, okay, so if you have a blood sugar drop and you have sugar in, you just get a spike. And you get that, what's it called? What's the word? There's like hypo and hyperglycemia. Yeah. One's like too high, one's too low. And you'll end up waving between like this. It'll be harder. You need something that slowly releases, probably eggs. If you have eggs and fat, it would slowly release during the day. Like a bacon and eggs on the morning before a tattoo would be way better than bringing like coffees and chocolates and stuff and things to munch on during the day.
But if it doesn't work, would you not need like a backup?
What do you mean? Oh, so if you have a drop, you need to like...
Even if you had bacon
again.
and eggs in the morning and maybe you've like a bit anemic or something and you're like...
Wouldn't it be better, right? So, who are we doing this for? Like, who are we eating for here? Are we eating for the tattooists so they can get the piece for their portfolio? Or are we eating to like get this piece of art while still being healthy? Because I don't think it's a good idea to like be f***ing yourself up just so some guy can like get a picture for his thing, or just because you want a picture for your arm. Like, would it be better if you haven't eaten right on the morning? You should eat right on the morning, of course. But say you haven't and you have this crash, is it better to just chill out, have a break, and maybe come back a different day?
Probably, yeah.
Like, and if it's your fault, then pay for what you should have done.
I suppose because it's going to be like extra stress on your body.
Yeah.
Like, not only are you having like a hypo moment, you're going to be like getting needles in your skin as well. Your body's going to be like, oh, stop this now, please.
I'm not claiming that I'm right here, though, by the way. I'm just saying like, that's what it seems like to me. But I do think that having something with fat in, not oil, because oil and fat's not the same thing, but something like bacon and eggs, for instance, on a morning, but loads of
Saturated fat, not polyunsaturated.
Yeah, loads of it. Loads of it. Like, my dad had egg and chips last night, and I'm like, that sounds f***ing crap, by the way. But, like, how many eggs did you have? And he's like, well, 2, but one was a double yolk, so kind of 3. I'd need at least 6. At least 6
Really?
eggs to go with that, yeah.
Eggs are so eggy.
But they've got fat and cholesterol in, man. It's good for your brain. And chips are f***ing crap. I know that's blasphemy to most people.
Yeah.
In the church of carb.
Because it's a staple, isn't it?
It's a staple. What does that mean?
Well, it's like...
Staples your stomach
It's
shut.
Staples for peasants. Like us.
It's slave food.
It's slave food, yeah.
Like, I've not got anything against it if you're a slave. If you need to keep your slaves obedient and alive, then
Give them bread and
potatoes and
chips.
rice and bread, yeah, sweet. Have as much slave food as you want. But if you're not a slave and you're a fucking god on earth like me, I'm gonna get smited for that.
You're gonna get struck by a thunderbolt or something. Yeah.
Have just loads of eggs, loads of meat, loads of fat, no plants ever. I've stopped eating muffins now, actually, because I know muffins are plants.
As of
basically.
like yesterday.
As of yesterday. I had my last muffin yesterday again. And I
Well,
already feel better.
So, you know this whole blood sugar thing, would it maybe better if... I know they're both sugar, but like, would it be better if they had an apple rather than like Haribo's?
Well, Haribo's are actually... have some animal in, don't they? So like, they're probably better
Well, not
than
Haribo's than just chocolate.
chocolate. Chocolate's a bit weird, isn't it? I don't know, because there's like some... This is more... Oh, I guess it is food related. Okay. Apples don't exist to the in nature, so it's kind of like... Neither does chocolate, I guess. It's fructose, though, in the apple. And fructose is kind of worse than like...
Glucose.
Yeah, I think. I don't know how... I'm not 100% on this. But we don't have the things to break it down fructose properly. Like, we do have some. We all always have a little bit, but not enough to do it properly, I think. So fructose, it seems like maybe worse than like some of these other ones. But then, what is actual refined sugar, if not just fructose anyway, because it comes from a plant?
Plus it's got seed oil in it.
Seed oil. The less seed oil, the better, right? Just go and eat bacon and eggs, right? Then you want to pass out the radiator. That's all I had to say about that, I think. And I think I've run out of notes as well, so...
Yeah, that was a weird post. It just seemed like he put lots of words together.
Is that word salad?
Yeah, like burn through your insulin levels and that, like... What?
Look, guys, I talked about this thing on the internet, and you must believe me because I used words you don't know everything about, even though I just repeated them. And also, if it's a scientific thing, it's only one. It's a case study of one. Like, what? How do we know the guy didn't take heroin when he got home? Do you know what I mean? It's like we don't know that. And it's like, oh no, you must take chocolates. Your diet goes out the window on tattoo day. It doesn't matter, eat whatever you want on tattoo day, even though you can still do it wrong by eating whatever you want. Don't eat whatever you want. Eat bacon and eggs, right? Have 3 steaks, 4 bacons, and I mean packs of, and 7 eggs. Just so you've got to open a second pack. If you've got to open a second pack of eggs for your meal, you're on the right track.
God.
I've got to open at least 2 packs of eggs every time I have eggs.
I have a 1 egg omelette every morning.
That's not an omelette.
But it has got 4 like bits of bacon in as well.
Okay, that's better.
I have to like the ratio of egg to bacon. It has to be like favouring bacon because too much egg, it gets just so eggy. And
Are you chopping your bacon up? Is it like lardons?
It's like lardons, yeah.
Lardons, lard-offs.
Yeah, I've got like a pair of scissors that I cut up because I don't know. I like it like that now, especially if it's crispy.
Yeah, just don't cook your eggs up, by the way. Just have them raw, obviously, because that's way easier. Right, what have we got?
What does that
we had a
say?
thing to talk about. Oh, God. Oh, radiator thing. That's what I just talked about.
Radiator thins.
Thing, it says.
That's
a G.
There's no
G.
G. There's no G.
That's a lazy
That's an
G.
S.
It's a lazy G, that.
Right. No shows, time wasters, and no call, and then cucumber or whatever that says.
Circumstances, that says. It does look like cucumber, though. Right, you talk about that one for a bit while I drink milk.
Well,
Blue, obviously, because I'm
I
not going to
saw-
fucking eat the shit milk. Don't have skimmed milk. Skimmed milk is for pigs,
God,
by the way.
we're over this, man. I saw a post that I have not saved the screenshot of.
Do you know, like, how they give... You know, they have pigs to work on for cancer? Like, they do experiments on pigs for cancer.
Oh, right, yeah, because we're so similar.
Obviously, someone needs to create pigs with cancer to then try the treatments on. Do you know how they create the pigs with cancer?
What?
They give them skimmed milk and grains. Yeah, it's like, and then they're telling you guys to eat that for your f***ing breakfast every day as well.
And it's like, oh, by the way, we can
How could we
transplant your heart
stop
with a
them from
pig
having
one.
cancer? Have you thought about not giving them cancer in the first place? I know what I'll do with these pigs. I'll just not give it skimmed milk and grains and see if it still gets cancer. Right? Yeah.
Is that really what they do?
Allegedly. What were you going to say though? Sorry, you saw a post?
Well, I didn't. Oh, it might be me deleted. It was a tattoo artist who was like complaining a bit about someone being a no-show.
Oh, you deleted that?
I don't know.
We wrote it in here for the pod and you deleted it. You won't have.
I'll see if I can find it. I don't know why I'm like this. I don't know if it's like further back than I think it is.
You'd have scrolled past it 3 times trying to go faster.
I'll just take my time. Will you? Oh, there it is. Yes, I've got it. I'm making a list of no call and no shows. If you end up on this list, I will refuse to tattoo you in the future. I'm getting tired. I'm tired of getting my time wasted. Thank you. ... That is all. I've been extremely lenient over my 9-year career when it comes to people running super late without a heads up or no show. Unfortunately, that's all I've got. So, do you think making a list of like
No call, no shows.
is it like too much effort or?
Well, I'm wondering, like, I see that some people are just like lazy. They can't be asked to come in, or they've changed their mind, or they've went somewhere else, right? But there's a little bit of like a balance we could find here. I think, like, this guy's obviously like, why is it all about you? Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Because I've seen tattooists just jump straight to slagging a customer off for not calling up when they came in.
Right.
And what if that guy's kid just got hit by a bus on the way to school in the morning, and then he gets in, finally it's like, oh, his kid's stable now, he's gonna survive.
Mm-hmm.
They've done the surgery, the emergency surgery, he's gonna survive, might be in a wheelchair forever though. And it's like, oh, I was supposed to be in for a tattoo today.
Yeah.
And you go on Facebook and this guy slagged you off.
And it's got like 1,000 likes.
Yeah, 1,000 people are just all slagging you off just because this guy hasn't got the thought that, like, it might not be nefarious or whatever. It's like, I think we can be human about it as well.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to be working every single day, like, as hard as you can to get all the money or whatever. I know you've got bills and that, I get it. But these are people. They're not just like a photo for your Instagram or whatever, and they're not just like a new pair of trainers that you're just going to go and blow your money on tonight or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's not your gambling addiction. It's like these are actual people with circumstances and lives. And I think, obviously, some will take the piss, but I think we need to consider. I don't think I have a problem with the punishment or whatever. It's the jumping straight on Facebook for recognition about it immediately. That's the thing that I don't like about that.
Plus,
you don't know why.
Maybe this is a person who they've done this twice.
They might be, and you do get them people. But I think it's like a case by case thing. I don't think it's just like that's it. I'm a special boy and I deserve to tattoo every day. And if someone's booked in for one, they have to come. What if they got sacked?
Yeah.
What if they can't afford it? Like, what if their grandma's dying and they're in hospital right now and they like, are they going to think like, oh, they should let me know? Are they going to think about you first? You, this entitled guy who's just going to slag them off at the drop of the hat anyway. Like, do you even deserve to be let know?
Yeah.
Like, or even thought about if you're going to be like that. Whereas I have people like the guy I'm tattooing today. He had like what was it now? He was booked in for a tattoo and he couldn't make it because something came up, like something important, family things came up. And he did think of me first and rang me and said like he hadn't even paid the deposit. I hadn't even asked for one because I tattooed him a fair bit. And like he cancelled the appointment for this family thing and still even came down and dropped £100 deposit off for the appointment he wasn't coming in for.
Yeah.
Out of respect. And I think there's a difference. If
was
you
that on the same day as you were going to tattoo him, or was that before?
I think that was like it wasn't. I don't know if it was the same day he was supposed to be tattooing. It might have been. I can't remember now.
Yeah.
But it was like he brought the deposit in after cancelling, though. Do you know what I mean? Versus like just not showing up or whatever. But I think it's not just that one little instance, though, is it? It's not the one thing. It's everything. Like that attitude, when people have certain attitudes, it tends to go through everything. Like if you care about your art, you're going to care about like this other thing. You're going to care about like when you're, I don't know, tidying your car up or some shit. You know what I mean? It's all, it's like you tend to have a certain way that you are. And someone whose way is to go on the internet and slag someone off for like at the drop of a hat, that'll knock on effect through their whole life as well.
Yeah.
So even when the person comes into the studio and talks to you about getting the tattoo, that attitude's going to be there as well, isn't it? You're not going to be talking to them like this human necessarily. You might be, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's more like the picture for their Instagram kind of thing.
Sometimes. I'm not saying that that's what that guy's is, but I think we can just think a little bit more about it. And I might be overthinking that. I don't think so, though. So I've thought about that.
I think maybe he could have used less aggressive language. Maybe. Just going like, just heads up. If you don't show up, you're getting put on a list. No. Yeah,
you could be more well, like, this is kind of part of the thing about tattooists, though. Like, none of them are professional. They're just all fucking stabbing people for a living. How professional can you be? Yeah. There's no, like, regulations. There's no course or whatever. It's just, like... So, yeah, none of them... Like, not none of them, but, like, a lot of them just don't know what they're doing. They just copy them things, like... Because I see a lot of that kind of stuff where people have had, like... There's other artists kicking off, so then people think, oh, it's cool to kick off. Like, so I've seen a thing when, like, say... work gets copied. When someone's work gets copied, it's like the artist gets this like high horse. It's like, oh, it's my turn on the horse, and they get on there like, I can't believe this person has copied my work, and it's like they were doing that 2 years ago.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And it's like, then they get on there like, look at this person has done this, and then what happens is when you've got a bit of a following, like your mob goes and attacks this person, and so you instigate this like attack on this person. And they were just paying their bills. Do you know what I mean? Someone came in and said, can I have this? And they were just like, yeah. Or they might have said, well, I don't really want to copy someone. Look, mate, I'm not your mate, right? Just do the work, whatever. Or, you know, they're thinking like, oh, fucking, I'd rather draw my own, but I can't. Or, you know, any amount of different excuses as to why not. And sometimes they just have to do it. Whether you should post them once or not, maybe that's the question, but or you could give credit or whatever. But it happened to me one time, and it's like I got my turn on the wagon kind of thing, and it's like I was like, oh, look at this. The first time I'd not copied something, do you know what I mean? And it's like, look at this.
What was it?
Some owl. It was an owl and a moon, and then someone had did the same tattoo on someone else, like within a few days, kind of thing. And I was like, what the f? And then I saw people go on there and start this like attack, and I'm like, oh, stop this. And I deleted my post. I'm like, stop going and doing that. And I messaged them privately, and I'm like, look, sorry, I didn't mean to like set this mob on you. I didn't like realize what was going to happen like that, even though I've seen it happen so many times before.
People love doing it. I don't get like so I'd never do it, so I don't know what kind of.
They get to feel like a super special boy, don't they?
Because it's like you're part of. It's like a team thing, isn't it? Like I'm on this team.
Yes, I guess it probably builds your support network or something in a way, but of who? people who are going to just go like, this is bullshit. Someone's paid for this. Now I'm just like, whatever. It's like a bit gutting for the client. If the clients came to you and paid like full price for this like custom thing, and then some guy in Malaysia just goes and here you go for 40 quid or whatever, and they're always shit.
Yeah.
Well, not always, but often a shit.
But you'll have the best one. But it is weird because I see that all the time on the internet. Like, guys don't go out and hate these people. Like, if someone's calling someone else out, but they always have to like reiterate that to their audience not to go and send them death threats, and they still do. Like, who is the person going and sending people death threats? It's so weird. They must be joking. They must not be
I would hope
invested.
so. I would hope so. Or they're just on the internet and they just feel like they feel righteous for some reason because they're powerless in their normal life, and they get to go like, you are scum for copying this guy's work. It's like, what? You drew a picture. Some guy drew a picture and you liked the picture, so you drew the picture, and it's like, now you deserve to die. It's like, I'm pleased you're not in charge.
Well, they never will be, because these people are like slaves, I guess, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're like, if it wasn't for that they'd be obsessed with celebrities.
Yeah, I guess. Well, yeah, but that kind of is a bit of that, though, because they think you're a celebrity.
Yeah.
In a way, even if you're just a local one or whatever. So they're just like, I want to stick up for this guy so he'll like me. And it's like, actually, I don't really like that kind of behaviour. So even like I say, I tried it early on, and I'm just like, oh, wow, I did not like that feeling. I don't want to perpetuate that. I want to stop that. But, I think another thing it might be is like a bit of projection. They might be like attacking their past self for doing it. And also, what am I saying? They're attacking their past self for doing it, but also, it's gone. It's just fucking gone. Thanks, retrograde.
So you had your own little mob before. It's happened to me before as well. Like I've set me art following onto a Redditor before, but it felt good though.
Oh, it did feel good.
Yeah. Well, because it's on Reddit.
Reddit is a lame.
Like, so, like, literally, I posted a piece of art because I used to draw like memes, kind of silly things, the type of stuff that Reddit loves. And like literally within an hour of me posting it on my Facebook page, it was posted on Reddit and got loads of upvotes. And like everyone in the comments was like, "Oh, this is so funny! You're such a great artist. I love this art." And it's like, who is this person who just steals art and goes on Reddit straight away?
I don't think
a hobby.
I don't think they're trying to steal art. I think they're just trying to get upvotes on Reddit.
Yeah, they're just like,
oh, I think yes.
And then I remember I uploaded it afterwards because to put on my Reddit account, so like you can see all of my art on my Reddit account, and people are like, this is a repost, and I'm like, drew it.
I've had it where like I've seen like someone's posted one of my works or just reposted it or something like that just to share it, and then people are like, wow, this is amazing, and they're just like, thanks. I'm like, oh, what?
Oh, really?
So I just went on there, I was like, going, thank you, I appreciate your comments on me tattoo that I did.
There was one artist, notorious internet paedophile, Shadbase. He draws a lot of Lolita porn. He took one piece of my art and posted it on his website.
You're like, get this off there right now.
Well, it was like, he drew like, because he also draws not child porn, but it was like some sexy art of this character, and then underneath in his comment section on his website, he posted my picture of like this like funny thing I did. It was like a niche reference to something, and everyone thought he drew it. And literally, like in the corner of it, my signature was there.
They're just like, wow, this is amazing.
Like,
that you did.
That's happens so often as well. It's like, oh, who drew this? This is great. I'm like open your eyes and look at the bottom.
Have you thought about looking down and right a little bit? Imagine you just go to their heads and you just like,
they still wouldn't say it. I
like that drawing of that like word on the bottom of there, but who drew it though? Sophie.
It's because they can't read. They just consume.
Yeah, Reddit's fucking gross, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'm starting to actually hate it, especially since I found out all of the mods are beep.
Yeah,
all of them are.
Do you think we have any Redditors watching this?
Yeah. If you're a Redditor, right, be ashamed of it. I know I go on there as well, so technically I am one, and I am ashamed of it.
If you go on Reddit, explain why. Why do you go on Reddit?
Why do you go on Reddit? Do you want? No, don't explain why you go on Reddit. Explain why you're different on Reddit than you are on Facebook, where it's got your name next to it. I'm also. This is another thing about me. I'm me in all of the things. I've got my same name on all of the things. One of my mates was like, "Wow, I can't believe you can bear back and Reddit with your own name." I said, because I don't give a and I'm going to say the same things regardless of where I'm at, regardless whether people know it's me or not. I'm not bothered about hiding behind something, because I find that on Reddit that some people are like, they would never, I reckon this is happening somewhere in the world where someone's having a pleasant conversation with someone and also arguing with them at the same time on Reddit.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, no, you're wrong. This is the thing, Link. It's like, I'm going to need a source for that. Have you got a source for that? Here's the source for that. It's like, oh, God. And then they're just like, oh, hi, mate, I love this piece of art you've done. Oh, yeah, thank you. I did it with this.
Then he goes to repost it on another thing for updates.
Straight on Reddit. Yes. Gross. I wish I could remember that thing I was about to say earlier on. It was about the projection of the person slagging off the person for copying their thing. Why can't I think of that? You can't do this, though. You can't just constantly like try and force it into your brain.
No. It'll come to you like as soon as the podcast ends.
So yeah, if the podcast ends and then it's like I'm back on, don't. Oh, so sometimes we may be putting secret bits at the end of the podcast, like me remembering the thing. It might not be interesting, but there was a secret song on one of the episodes at the end, and not everyone listens. My dad was like the other day, he'd listened to one of the more recent ones, and he's like, "Oh, was there a thing at the end of that one? Because I didn't like listen past it." I'm like, "Nah, that's for you to find out. Should have listened, shouldn't you?"
We've only had one.
You've only done that once so far.
Yeah, you have to go and find it. That's kind of though. It's like the Marvel end credit scenes, like post-credit Marvel scenes.
Yeah. Oh, so you just get fat nerds sitting there waiting for like...
Yeah, at the cinema.
Did you wait to the extra bit at the end of the movie?
We really like demonising Redditors on this one.
Good, because Reddit is... I might just put that as the title. Reddit is f***ing and it's run by... Do you know that they think they're doing a job, by the way? They're unpaid.
They do for free.
And they think that it's a... There was one post I saw on a different site. Some woman was talking about her husband. He doesn't have a job and they're struggling for cash, but he thinks that moderating his Reddit group is a full-time job, because it is a full-time job. But he thinks it's an important job that he should do instead of getting like a real job to provide for his family.
I see that on 4chan. They'll just put the words, they do it for free.
4chan's weird though, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't really go on there much anymore.
Yeah, I can't go on there.
I used to be on there a lot when I was like 4.
It's confusing to go on, and it's like immediately there's just something you didn't want to say. Oh, I'm not going to talk about this on the podcast. I saw a horrible thing.
Is someone dying?
Yes.
Yeah, you go on there, you either see like swastikas, someone dying, or porn. That's kind of it. And
then occasionally there's something funny. But it's so rare that you might as well go on Reddit and find it in green text, I think. You've got to risk going on Reddit. Risk the energy on Reddit and read it instead. Energy? It is though, innit? It's exactly that.
We need to get off this. We need to stop talking
Think our way now. Otherwise, we will ban you. Include us in your thing, even though we're in your thing.
Isn't that what we're doing though? Like, think this way, or we'll ban you.
We're not banning people.
Stop thinking like and we'll ban you. Or
we'll ban you.
Yes.
Right. Fucking get out, mate.
Right, enough of the thing. Let's move on from that. Oh, what about the thing that happened to me? That was weird.
Oh yeah, because that was part of the walkout and no shows thing.
Yeah.
Sophie was about to tattoo some woman, right, the other day. And the woman was like, I want it now, kind of thing, which is not ideal for a start. But Sophie did it slow, and the woman was like, right, I'm bored of this, bye. Basically. There was more words involved than that, and she was politer than that.
I did put the stencil on, like...
Twice.
Yeah. But she was polite. She did apologise a lot. And, I mean, I didn't care. But
do you think that there was a way to actually tattoo her?
If I got it right first time.
Yeah.
Cause
I think if you got it right second time, she was...
Yeah.
Like-
But even then, she was like, "Is this going to take an hour, is it?" And I was like, "I don't know."
She just wants a tattoo, but she's kind of like, oh, but I can't. I just want it. Can you just have it on us already? Can you have done it in the past, please? Now.
Yeah. She's
So
impatient.
maybe you're not in the right mind for this today.
Yeah, I mean, she did mention like that she had just come out of rehab. So I'm like, oh, sweet.
She doesn't want to get rehabbed again. She's habbed now. And you're about to dehab her. She's like, this is dehab energy and I'm not into it, so I'm just going to go and take drugs. I mean,
Well, no, because
not
isn't
drugs.
taking drugs getting dehabbed?
Yeah.
They need to get
You've
rehabbed.
forced her back on the drugs by taking far too long to do the tattoo. She just wanted a little bit of pain then.
She just went out and instantly done hard drugs. I'm sorry, woman.
She's like, look, I wanted to get jabbed up not right now.
I need some kind of needle in us now.
Immediately. Yeah, I think she was all right, and I think like if you did nail the stencil the second time, I think she would have been fine.
Sometimes customers come in though and they're a bit like much. Like they come in and they're like a whirlwind and they're like laughing and carrying on with their mate and like kind of, I don't want to say chavvy, but
And
chavvy.
you've got that noob energy. You're just like, oh,
Yeah, and I'm like,
hello.
Oh god, hi,
Do you like Warhammer?
fuck off.
And they're just like, no, I like heroin. Why would you imagine it when you can see it?
What strain is that like? Warhammer?
I've tried some Warhammer, like I've tried some Kush Hammer, War Kush, the lot, all of it. Smack Hammer. What's that guy called? The one with the two axes? Slambo.
Slambo.
I thought there was going to be like a
I like
drug
how you took
reference
the
to him.
piss out of me for like Warhammer and you've just brought up some esoteric character out of...
It's only because me and Bethany had a joke about Slambo.
Okay.
When she'd slam the door, I'm like, all right, Slambo, go and get your two axes.
You're going to have to put a picture of Slambo up
Yeah,
now,
this is
isn't
what Slambo looks like, the lamest Warhammer character ever. I used to be like, okay, I'll tell you my Warhammer story, right? Because obviously, Warhammer's, obviously we know that. Everyone knows that. But guess what? It's actually alright. It's just the people are a bit much.
it? Yeah.
Like, I went into a games workshop once when I was like younger, because I was into, Xbox and PlayStations and computer games, which is also obviously. I was like, games? I like games. Let's go in there. And this guy's like, hello, do you play? And I was like, no, mate. I'm not into out over that funny stuff, like. And I'm just like, I left. And I'm like, no. Then I told people that story for years about this weird guy in
Right.
there. And then eventually, right, there was a guy in the army who used to paint the Warhammers and play it and that. And I kind of liked taking the piss out of it. I'm like, so can you make your own characters up in that? He's like, well, you could do if you do like, and you don't play in like competition reels or something like this. I'm like, so what if I wanted to just get like this, and I had like some nuts and bolts in my pocket, like it was like a nut with 5 bolts, no, a bolt with 5 nuts in it or something. I'm like, what if this was Nutman, right? And he's got 100 health. Can your army take Nutman on or whatever? And he's like, well, it's kind of not. I mean, well, what? So you just have to buy them, is it? Well, a person who buys the most of them wins. Well, there's points, and I'm like, I'm already bored of this conversation. And it's like, I started taking the piss out of him.
Right.
He was all right, though. He understood, I guess, mostly. But now that I understand it, it's like, you could do that, but it would have to be a friend's game or whatever. But
Yeah.
eventually, I just got over myself and realised that I like the idea of painting them.
Yeah.
As an artist, I'm like, nah, I think painting them little guys would be cool, actually. And the game's just like, it's any game. Like, I think most board games are probably all right, to be fair. I don't know about most of them, but a lot of the ones I've played have been all right.
You've played some like you've like the non-Monopoly board games, like Zombie. Is it Zombicide?
Yeah. The Zombicide,
That's
that's
good.
pretty good. Zombicide's like, it's Monopoly, right, but with zombies and less houses and less capitalism.
It's not Monopoly.
And
It's
nothing
not
to do
like
with
Monopoly at all.
Yeah. You get zombies that come on and it starts getting all stressful and that.
If you
So
think,
can't
like,
describe it.
when you think of a board game and you think of Monopoly, you should try and unlearn that. It's wrong. There's so many good board
Monopoly
games.
is the shit. It's
It's
lamest.
shit.
Monopoly is just mind control to make you think that's how the world should work. Because you're just like, yes, I got Mayfair and Park Lane. And no one cares about Mayfair and Park Lane. It's actually probably the brown ones, which is where you probably live in real life. Where they made the most money. That's the one who gets ripped off the most. The person who lives in the brown house, isn't it? Legit, or maybe not.
Is Brown the least...
Brown's the first one. Brown's,
'cause it's fucking
Brown's
shit.
Horden. Brown's Horden or Siam. No, Brown's Horden. Then the next one along, the blue ones, that's probably Siam. And it's like the green ones and orange ones where the people think they're posh, but they just live in Eshaw Village. It's still Siam. It's just round the corner from here. It's like, oh wow, you live near a Sainsbury's and paid 400 grand for your house when it's next to the fucking Bronx. Still, it's practically, if you live next to the Bronx, right, you live in the Bronx. Still, like, you need a buffer town between you and the Bronx.
Yeah.
Or at least a street. Although, I don't know, you know, because I've, like, lived in some weird places. And when I lived in, like, in Middlesbrough, we lived, like, in the rough bit.
Oh, God.
And it's like, my car got broken in loads of times and that. But then I've lived in, when I lived in Seaham up there, Cheviot Gardens it was called, just on Station Road. I know no one watching this probably knows where I'm on about, but it literally backs on to the roughest bit of Seaham. And they just never come through that bit.
Oh, really?
There must be like a chav force field or something where they just like, oh no, they're not in the game. Let's go nick from this place down here.
If they go past there, they're like desynchronized, like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, it's like you hear them like hooliganing around on their motorbikes and that on that field, but they never do a wheelie through this gap into my bit. It's like they
Weird.
know not to come through there. They get off their bike and then push it through when they come through there. And
No
it's like,
way.
what the how do they know?
Well, there's like an aura around it that makes them less chav-like.
Yeah, they just immediately become respectful because this is the respectful bit or something.
It probably works like that.
Huh, yeah, okay, so you don't live in the Bronx if you live next to the Bronx, I guess. But some parts of Seaham, I forgot the street that Dan said the other day, that like legit is the Bronx. I went round there one day to buy, I forgot what it was called now, the street he said. I went and bought like a fridge from there once and it was like, it's like you know, I've described Iraq before, when it's like you go from like Iraq and it's like bombed buildings and it goes like shanty towns, then huts, then just wasteland. Then you come back into like Kuwait and it goes like wasteland, oil fields kind of wasteland, then huts, then shanty town, then broken buildings, then green grass and like Mercedes garage and a Ferrari garage and that. And it's like, what the like going up to that street was like that. It's like nice house, Merc, Beamer, scrap. And it's like the grass is dead and it's like a like fridge in the yard and it's a dog shit on the and a dead pigeon and nonce written on the side of someone's house and that, like legit, like all the what they called, the window sills are off and it says nonce in like massive like black paint across the window and it's like smell and like all the paint's peeling off everything like in that area. It's like how
One's
did
bad,
this happen?
where they've got fake windows and doors. They're just pictures
Oh, in
of
Horden,
them.
yeah. Oh, I should get some photos of the street in Horden. 5th Street, I think it might be. But the numbered streets in Horden are pretty bad. That's where I go past on the way to the allotment. But here is an example of a window in that street. There's either like some next doors, like the windows are out, and then these ones have like, what is it, like
There's just like a big picture of
a
it.
picture of a door and a picture of a window on the boarded up thing. But you don't notice when you first go past.
Yeah,
like when
yeah,
I
they're
take
pretty
people
good.
down, I have to point them out. But okay, I'll get a photo of that for the next thing. But I do believe this manifestation thing though, and like the magic bit of the universe, I guess your perspective and your mindset changes your reality. Even if I don't know if it necessarily changes it completely. Like if it's like, if something's going to happen, I think you can reduce the percentage chance of it happening rather than just stop it necessarily.
Yeah.
But Martin, the guy who used to own this studio, he came back one day, like he was driving past on his motorbike because he got a motorbike because he watched that motorbike show. What's it called?
Son's Vanity.
Son's Vanity once.
So cringy.
Is it? I've never really watched it. But yeah, he came and called in. He's like, "Oh, it looks good in here now." And like, there's a lot of work. Like everything basically has changed now since here. I don't know if there's anything original now. There might be. No, there was a shelf that lasted about 5 or 6 years that was still original from when he was here, but I think everything's been retouched now. Sometimes multiple times, like this wall and that. But he was asking questions about stuff, and he goes like, "Oh, do you still get people like coming in and nicking stuff and that?" And I'm like, "That's never happened." He's like, "Oh, it fucking used to happen all the time to me." I'm like, "Does it happen where you're at now?" He's like, "Yeah." Like, have you heard of the law of attraction? Where do I start with it? Like, he'd have like people come in the studio and nick stuff out of the front there.
Like what? Just stuff?
I don't know, stuff, things. Whereas I've left the door physically open with me bike in the front room overnight, and then nothing happens. Like, I once came in. It's like I lived at Merton, and I'd left my car at the shop and I was biking to work. And I thought, I'll go and collect that thing from the shop on my bike, little bike ride out or whatever. So I came down here and then just opened the door, dropped my bike on the floor, because I was just in a rush to do this thing, what I was doing. And I was just going to get it and then go straight back home. So I didn't even have time to lock the door, close it or whatever. Then I went through and saw something and thought, I'll take that to the bin. Then it's like I go through the back, and then I'm like, I'll start f***ing around with this like tool or something like that. Then I'm like, I could build that thing that I wanted to build. It's like, I need this part from B&Q. I'm like, well, my car's out the back. I'll just go to B&Q now and then come back. And I forgot about the door. So then it's like, I've gone out the back, got in the car, drove to B&Q, got the thing, then it's raining, and I'm like, I'm not going back in the rain. So I've just drove home. And just left the door open and everything like
That's such a you story.
Yeah. And then came back in the morning and it's just fine. It's cold in here because it's been open all night.
You left the door open,
yeah,
like
actually
a jar.
open, yeah. Not a jar, a bucket. All the way open. Me a jar joke, right? Dan, I said, do you want us to close your door? And he's like, or should I leave it ajar? And he's like, yeah, a jar would be good. Like, so I got a jar and I just put it in and like I measured it. Exactly. That's where me a jar joke came from. Or me a bucket joke.
It's crap.
It's crap, like, yeah. Fucking don't make that joke, mate.
Is that it?
Well, I was just saying about that thing. I think, like, so you just believe you won't get stolen and you won't get stolen.
Yeah, it's definitely a mindset thing.
But then people are going to be like, bullshit. Well, of course, with that attitude.
Yeah.
If you think I'm talking shit, well, I definitely am. In your case, it was Henry Ford's wife, allegedly. So I'll give you a couple of quotes before.
Henry Ford's wife?
Henry Ford's wife allegedly made this quote. Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. You're right. My voice went there.
Oh, okay. Is that the Ford? Ford,
the driving guy, yeah. Freemason guy, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
And another quote that I think allegedly Nikola Tesla said, which is definitely true. You may, and it's not even may now, I think it's confirmed, live to see man-made horrors beyond your comprehension. And I've seen many of those recently.
Is that Tesla?
Allegedly.
I thought that was a Lovecraft quote or something.
Who knows?
Do you know what his cat was called? Do you know about H.P. Lovecraft?
No.
He's the guy who invented Cthulhu.
Okay.
He wrote the Necronomicon.
Okay. It was not like a skin book or something.
I don't know, but he basically wrote loads of cosmic horror stories. Do you know what his cat was called? Man.
Really? Mint. Right, I want a cat. Has anyone got any black cats? Because I want one to call it that. Mint. Okay. Bye.
Bye.